Hey everyone, welcome. We're continuing reading a Patreon requested book by Hamza Yusuf. It's his commentary on the poetry of Imam Mawlud. This is dealing with poem verses 78 through 86. It's titled Ostentation, so let's read it. Its roots cause its covetousness and doing good works for the sake of showing off. The cure for covetousness is also my cure for the next disease, ostentation. So roll up your sleeves if you want to set out and cure what is at the root of all of these diseases and what exacerbates them. I mean that showing off is one of the calamities of the heart, whose definition is to perform an act of devotion for other than the Creator's sake. Okay, so don't do it for the sake of the populist adoration, do it for the sake of Allah. Whether it is for the purpose of seeking some worldly benefit, or praise from His creation, or to protect oneself from the opposite, that is, loss of wealth and dispraise. That's a tricky one. I mean, you want to have those things, so how do you manage it to where it's like you don't want to be hated by them, you don't want to be insulted by them, and if you act good anyways, you're going to hear it, but I guess it's about your intention. You got to make sure that you're doing it for this reason, and if they happen to like it, then they happen to like it, right? I guess it's essentially don't do it just for them, but do it because the maker, right? The worst form is that which results in a sinful deed, such as pretentious display of virtue. Ooh, pretentiousness. Ooh. You know, some people have called me pretentious. Condescending. Just because sometimes I'm very stoic and don't talk a lot anymore. And some people think that. But I'm not that way. But some people think that. You know? But hopefully none of us are that. So as to be entrusted with the wealth of an orphan, the next degree is what is done for some worldly matter, using good deeds as a mean to obtain it. Finally, showing off is that which is done out of fear of the scornful gaze of people. So doing something to avoid the scornful gaze, that method, I don't really care. People are gonna scorn and gaze. You could be really good, and still people are gonna chuck a rock, so nothing you can do can stop that gaze. So don't do something just so that you think it will get the gaze off of you, right? I get it. It is cured by knowing that if all of creation were to join forces to oppose you or support you, they would not be able to do so. Because you have Allah on your side, essentially, right? I think that's what he's getting at. Except by His permission. Okay, yeah, Indeed, He alone possesses rewards for your actions in both abodes, and He is all-powerful, the ever-righteous and thankful. Thankful? Why would He be thankful? Allah doesn't have to be thankful because He doesn't need us. So you cannot be thankful if there's not a need there, right? Because when someone thanks you, you give them something. I guess you could thankful. I guess it gets into the semantics of language. It's like Allah, from my understanding, is pleased with your deeds. Thankful sounds, well, it just sounds different. Like your boss is thankful when you show up, right? It's like, oh, I needed you here. I'm so thankful to you. I don't know. That didn't sound right at the end. Ever righteous, so can't do anything contrary to His nature. Okay, so you will cure ostentation by knowing that no one can hurt you if Allah doesn't allow them to. And if you fear someone's going to hurt you, essentially you have to turn to your Maker and plead for protection and also be worthy of it. I get it. Okay, definition. So now we're going to get into Hamza Yusuf's commentary for us. The next spiritual disease is ostentation. Ridya. Okay, Riya. The most nefarious form of which is when a person performs rites of worship merely to obtain a place in the hearts of others. Yeah, you see. In plain terms, it is showing off, doing something to gain notoriety. Okay, yeah, so you can't be doing that. That's becoming strange now. That's why I always try to really just show who I am in all my aspects, because I think some people, you have to really watch yourself that you don't become spiritual and let it become an alter ego persona. You have to be you, but also be you as your religion. But also always be authentic. Do you know what I mean? The Prophet, peace be upon him, referred to this behavior as the lesser idolatry. He also said, I do not fear that you will worship the sun, the stars, and the moon, but I fear your worshipping other than God through ostentation. Okay, so the Prophet, peace be with him, worshipping through ostentation. Let's put a little note next to that. I like it that he said, like, no. Sun, stars, old way, astrology, sky gazers, that's them. That's not what he's afraid of, right? No, idolatry through ostentation. He said, moreover, what I fear most for my community is doing things for other than the sake of God. Aha, so our intention, right? That's why we had to make intention a lot. So, do it for the sake of Allah. You do it for no other purpose than that. You do it, and even if you don't get the immediate bounce back that you want, there's a full accounting when you go to the next realm, right? On your judgment day. Imam Maulud outlines 3 signs of ostentation. The first 2 are laziness and lack of action, for the sake of God when one is alone, and out of view of others. Okay, that is interesting. So laziness and lack of action. When you're alone, well, I'm always doing something. Yeah, something. Always. Doesn't matter. Something. Doing something. And sometimes I can sit and stare outside, but I'm still doing something in my brain. I'm never just passive. Unless sometimes I do maybe a little bit, where I just sit there and, like, stretch or something. But always doing something. When alone, such a person becomes lethargic. You have to watch out for lethargic, man. A lot of people are going to be suffering from that in the lockdowns. Unable or unwilling to perform acts of devotion, such as reading the Quran at home. But in the mosque, in the presence of others, he finds the drive to recite. So not doing it at home, only doing it in front of others, and being like, hey. So if he won't do it privately and only does it publicly, then you know there's ostentation. This is not to suggest that one should not respond to the inspiration one receives when in the company of people who are doing good deeds. The point here is guarding the motivation behind one's acts, especially devotional ones, ensuring that they be for God alone and not for anyone else. Yes, like, what gotta prove you're doing it? Okay, so we have to keep that in mind. Another sign of ostentation is increasing one's actions when praised, and decreasing them in the absence of such praise. Okay, yeah, I try to do, like, something's good, I like it, I keep doing it, and some people whine, they got their own opinions. Oh well, I'm not gonna stop doing it, I'm just gonna keep doing what I want to do as long as I know it's not something cruel and evil or whatever. This is interesting. In Islamic sacred law, encouragement is not censured. When Prophet, peace be upon him, saw somebody doing something good, he would say, you did well. He also said, when a believer hears somebody praising him, his faith, iman, increases, not his pride. So the faith should increase, not your pride, essentially, then. He is encouraged to do more for the sake of God, not for the sake of praise. Scholars distinguish between this form of praise and the dishing out of empty flattery. Yeah, praise versus empty flattery. In our corporate world, there's so much dead flattery that if you don't flatter, people think you're mean. And it's like, no. Everyone's just being fake with their stupid smiles. And it's just like, hi, yes, Yes. Yes. It's just like, what? And like people, the way people kiss up to certain bosses is just like, it's so obvious. And you're like, what is going on? Is they actually falling for this? Am I the only one who can see what's clearly going on? This sort of Machiavellian manipulation. It's really weird. Yeah, like empty flatteries. I hate it too. Uh, Someone calls me like, hey angel, or like something weird. It's just like, stop it. Just speak plainly. What are you doing? One is encouraged to convey to people that they have done a well job. This is especially true with young people, as it is important to encourage them to do good. Yeah, different between, like he said, encouragement and just empty flattery. Right? What do you think, fam?